So Paul Twitchells, because I was a professional paint sprayer for like about 20 years. And the one company, I worked there for 15 years. I just loved what I did because I'm kind of an artist. And so when the line would go down or anything, I would sit down and I would read Paul Twitchell's book. I just loved it. So are you saying that these books are, they're out of style now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no style. There's no style. There's only.
I mean, because things have changed now.
Margaret, let me explain. Okay, see, there you go again. Just let me explain. And that is that it's right now, isn't it? Are we 1965 right now?
No.
No, we're not.
I know.
We're right now. We're 2018, and whatever the date. Exactly. We're at this moment now, and I establish the new nowness of the all is. And here's the idea. Yeah, you can carry the books and do whatever. Those are ideas, okay? And the real guides, what everything needs is backing. This is what people don't see. Anybody can create any idea, just like John Roger Hinkins created Messiah while Paul was there, and Mike Owens created The Way of Truth. He's in San Diego. All these things. You can create all these things, Scientology, whatever. These are just ideas floating in space. But guess what? The real guides, the true silent ones, and the all is, the whole of life, do not back any of it, so there's nothing there. There's no aliveness there. They back me and what I'm doing because I'm presenting the isness life is. In Paul's day, they backed Paul because that was the first step. But as soon as Paul left, the backing, they stepped aside. Yes, they did cater to those that were still in the membership to see how it would go, but they stepped back because they were preparing for this next position, and this is it now. So, yes, you can read or whatever, David Icke or Paul stuff or whatever. It's not good or bad. It's reference material, but you look at the references that are there, they do not reference the isness life is, you see. So again, you decide your experience. It's all about the isness right now, you see.
Oh, I don't have to read any of that stuff. I was just telling you that, I started with that,
Well, we all started with something. Yes. Yeah, we all started with something. And
I saw, I think I was a teenager when I was going to high school the first time. Paul Twitchell was standing next to my bed, and I screamed because I was surprised. So then when I moved, maybe like 15 years later, maybe, I don't know, again in my bedroom in the house, in a home that I rented, he was standing, he took off his little hat. He was a short guy, and he was there, but then I recognized him, because then I was already leaving, heading for Eckankar at that time, reading his books and stuff like that. So I actually saw him twice. And then when I got into Eckankar, right at the time he passed away. So then there wasn't a master at that time or whatever to take the rod of power. So then there was this Darwin guy. But I didn't have problems like leaving Darwin. I mean, I was not attached to the physical person. So that's why I was just asking that. I'm 76 years old, but I'm not a grandma. Let me tell you, I lift heavy people. I'm thin.
You have a lot of experience, Margaret, which is good, you and Sandy. So again, because of what is taking place now, and being presented to the world, because the world is in really bad shape and it's getting worse every moment, very, very much so, more than most people realize. And so this is why this is being presented like it is right now. And so, yes, your experiences are good references from what you went through, but the best part of your journey is when you start to recognize this isness and start to be creative with that in your own sense. And just like Sandy has stepped up and she's decided to go on the adventure, And by the very fact that she's doing that, she will earn her awareness to better see what's taking place. So we all have to earn our way. This is the whole idea, and eventually learn to support each other realistically with a true reality, not just a sound good system that's been created for others to control. So again, there's a whole difference going on here. And so you have a lot of experience. Everything is valid. Nothing is negated. I always say this, nothing is negated. It's how you utilize it. But what is taking place right now is what is being presented with the new presentation, because this is what the boys are doing. And even galactically and all through creation, there's a bigger picture that's coming here. Very few people will see it, but we're just trying to let these people know that, hey, basically they're all trapped in tap lines. Almost basically the whole world is. The governments, the political, religious, spiritual systems, etc., Dalai Lama, whatever, they're all tap line and trapped and bought off by the reptilians. And so there's very few people that squeak through the cracks, and lucky you, you're one of them. And so your experience is very valid, so you can learn to, and Sandy will show you this, how you can learn to objectively share and be creative to possibly help others out of their own confinements. And so again, but you got to be the risk taker. You have to be the risk taker. It's not a membership thing or a follower thing. You got to be the risk taker. You got to step up. You got to face yourself, and then you got to figure out what is the isness. Yeah.
You know, I've been really happy living in this world. I've had hard times, especially when I was young and that, but I could handle that. I got a letter from the government, and this must have been like 10 years ago or whatever. I'm in the top 100 executives in the United States. I could probably run for president. I have really no interest in politics. And you asked me about my dream and stuff like that. I'm also in the movie guild, but I didn't go that way. I modeled when I was young and stuff like that. But I would like to be in this world a long time and help people, and I'd like to be pretty. How's that? Just look nice for me. How's that?
Yeah, you can, again, you decide your adventure, miss, whatever you want. See, again, there's no guidelines here. It's just like when a bird flies, it flies anywhere it wants. You decide. Yeah, you decide.
I'm not really into hair dye and all this kind of stuff. I'm just I'm into knowledge and stuff like that. Yeah. And helping people. I deal with people that have committed suicide and stuff like that. I've had people that have crossed over and died and came back and chose to come back. I was just on the phone the other day. This cost me almost $400. I bought some. It's a algae type thing. It's okay, I guess, but that's a lot of money. But the lady on the other end of the phone was glad she was talking to me, because she had some problems and stuff, but I didn't know what to do about it, because I've just been coming into this and stuff like that. But she had died twice and came back. But I will be able to talk to her again, because I just mentioned Eckankar to her, but I knew that wasn't the right thing. But I really didn't have enough knowledge on this to really say anything. But I think she would like this, maybe. Okay. Did you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very simple, young lady. So again, you decide, and again, you have a lot of experience, like we all do. We've come through millions of lifetimes to get here, because each lifetime is a snap of the fingers. And so again, it's when we decide to recognize this true reality. In the meantime, yes, we go through all these experiences, and you will continue to do so until you decide otherwise. So again, how you present yourself and do whatever, that's your choice every moment. This is, just like Paul said, all he can do is present the opportunity, and it has to be caught. It's not taught. And so again, this is where you start to recognize more so than just your mind and your personal life. Yes. And so, but again, you decide. You are deciding every moment.
Yeah, my brother came with me I think, when was it? Like a week or two
Two-
ago here,
2 weeks.
something like that. Yeah. Okay, but I don't. He grasped. I don't know if he grasped this or not, but I just thought that one of the videos that I looked at, I thought they were a little far out, like creepy. I thought it would scare people, if you showed those kind of things, like with
I
Joan.
get that. I get that. By the very fact of my presence, I scare people. And Val here, as an example, and I give you many. He's got, Val was 40 years in the corporation, and he just knows many people, all over, and from Margaret Klemp to whatever, etc. And there's one gal that's in Eck, and she sees him as pure evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Val is wonderful, but she sees him as pure evil.
I just thought that that video was just too far out to show to people, I thought, because, well, I have no feelings for Joan, but I tell my people, my clients, I always say, well, you always look and see the good in everybody, which I try to do. So, I mean, these people like Joan, I don't know if she knows she's doing bad,
Oh, she knows she's doing it. Everything that comes out, everything that's going on with the corporation, she's maneuvered it. She got rid of the board of directors, I guess, and she's done everything. She's totally in control. Everything comes from her. So again, yeah, it's we can use cute little ideas to kind of mask things, and if you want to do that, yes, go ahead. But just like the lion chasing the deer in the jungle, that's his dinner.
Oh, well, not all lions are the same, because I have a lion and we're in the woods at the same time. He even
No,
had a
they're
turkey
not all
with
the
us.
same. They're not all the same, just like people, and not all the world's the same. But there are a lot of people that are sharks, and this is how this is. And again, you're in a galactic matrix here, and the reptilians and the aliens, and you're seeing them. This is human farming planet. You can have your La La Land here for as long as you want, but that's what they want you to have. That's why Disney created what he did, because he was Illuminati. He was with the monarchy. He created entertainment to keep people duh. And there's a dark city under Disney, and everything is subliminals with Disney because it's all about mass control. So again,
I don't need that.
on the surface, it looks good and it's cute and they're nice people, but really when they want, they're going to eat you. That's what the queen does. That's where all the kidnapping children of the world go. The monarchy eats them. That's very real.
Just like the bees, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Duane, when
Go ahead.
remember that movie in Hawaii with was it Magnum PI or whatever in Hawaii?
Yeah, Magnum PI with Tom Selleck.
And remember one of the guy who ran the bar.
I didn't watch it too much, but I don't remember that part. I remember the guy that ran the bar in Gunsmoke. Yeah.
Well, this guy ran the bar in Magnum PI, and he did a special back around 1990, and he was talking. He said that he got involved with trying to find all these lost kids, and he said every year, just in the United States alone, over in 1990, over 3 million kids disappeared. 3 million disappeared off the books. And a lot of, people would report their kids, you got the grocery bag kids and all that. And he said 1990, 3 million kids disappeared. And occasionally, they'd find some of them, that like kids ran away with their friends or went on vacation for a weekend. And some of the kids would show up. But he said the net was over 3 million kids a year disappeared. And I thought,
yeah, well, the grays, the Earth is tunneled, and right underneath us is the grays, and they are insects, and they like the children. Okay, and so does the monarchy, and that's where most of them go. That's you have millions a year continually. Again, this is a breeding ground. This is human farming. And so, yeah, it's very real, but those things aren't reported. People go on hikes in the mountains, they disappear. They're watching everywhere, the spaceships or whatever. This is the abductions and what have you. What you see in the movies is kind of a gloss over of things, but when you get to the real part of it, and again, this does scare people and they don't want to see it. This is why Paul didn't bring these things out. He was very aware of this, but he just wanted to start something. So he started the babysitter routine with the God idea and the soul idea, and he upbeat it a little bit, but the reality was with him because he had the awareness. But Paul didn't even really go on radio or TV because it was not time. But now the world, we're in a whole different dimension here of dementia with everything. It's nuts, and people are agreeing to all the craziness, the poisonous, the Wi-Fi, the HARP, the government rules, regulations, abuse, everything. They're just agreeing to everything. It's like, oh, gee, it's all okay. This is how life is, and their cell phones, and now we're going to have 5G, like I've said many times. Yeah, people being ruined and destroyed, and it's right in front of them. Again, I stepped aside from my La La Land many, many years ago. I graduated into many things, had the so-called good life, but to do this, if I hadn't done that, then this wouldn't exist right here. So it's a risk-taker position. Me, I love the adventure. We're going to get into Galactic and Flash Gordon stuff here. And Margaret's presenting some of this, and it's really cool, her experiences. But it becomes more so than that, and it's learning to recognize what's really going on. So you have a lot of things going on in the earth here. But, yeah, as you pay attention and see on the real side and here, there is a new team, a real team being formed for those people that have the courage to step up and see it. And this will become the universal community where all the levels will be exposed. That's the idea. But that is taking place, and not everybody has the courage to see that or do it or take part in it because their personal life comes first. So again, you've been in creation many lifetimes doing the same routine. You want to keep doing it? Your choice. So, yeah, go ahead, Bob. Was there something else?
Well, I've got something. Well, the reason I've been really concerned is because, honest to God, I stood out on my porch last night. There's like, when a clear night is a nice night, there's like 50 of these things in the sky, when they have they can put on a bright light that they look like a star. And when they turn out the lights, there's like little green and white, and then of course when a plane gets near or anything, they'll put on red lights, and stuff like that. But as it gets darker, there's tons and tons of these, and I'm like, when you're talking about these kids disappeared, I was thinking, because a girl at work told me, she says, well, I heard from someone that they were here to take the old and the over-sexual people, I forget, and then one other kind of people I couldn't remember. And I says, well, I may not look so old, but I got a number, I says, I'm old too. Are they here to take me away? Because they hang on my farm,
Be careful, Marge. You look really juicy.
Here. And I thought, well, I work like a young girl. I mean, are they coming to take me away? As a matter of fact, when the first night when I saw so many of them, I called I didn't use 911. I used the other number, but I called the dispatcher and I says, are you aware of all these things in the sky? And so it didn't take long, and there were 2 police officers out there. One guy could see that, of course, they all went up the minute the police officers come, but the one guy couldn't make out. He says, yeah, I believe that is a ship. And I don't know why I didn't tell him about the binoculars. I use the binoculars, and when they swing back and forth, they have like streaks of blue light on the binoculars. I've got high-powered binoculars. They don't work so good, so there's no way I would have given them to the police officers because my cat knocked them off the dresser. So, but I've seen other ships too, where one year, a couple of years ago, it looked like my barn was on fire, but it was all sparks, and this thing had 5 great big yellow lights on the back, and my yard is supposed to be 3 acres. and it covered the whole thing, but it moved across next door to the next person where they got all them old cars. And I went in because I was worried about radiation. And then I looked out the window, and they're still there, and I got tired of looking at them, you know. Well, then they were gone after a while. So then about a couple weeks later, I was in the northwest end of my township, which isn't all that far away. And I was at a yard sale, and I went there because they had books. And I looked at the books, and there was this one with spaceships and stuff. And I said to the guy, I says, "Is this your stuff?" He says, "Oh yeah." I says, "Are you into this stuff?" He goes, "Oh yeah." And so I told him about that incident, you know. And he says, "Oh, because the guy next door has all these old cars. It was from the Obama thing, you know, when you trade in your car. Well, they gave him all these old cars. And he's supposed to take whatever he wanted out, and then he had to get rid of them. Well, they took all the engines out of his car, all that stuff. And he told me, he says, "Oh yeah." He says, "They don't have rust where they come from." Well, which I can see because they usually live inside the planet. What do you think about that?
Well, again, everybody's keeping busy with something, aren't they? So
Yes.
that's really all it is, young lady. So again, it's kind of like when you watch the news, which I don't watch the news, but because it's all baloney. But when the president says something, and then you have these news commentaries where they go over what the president said as an example, okay? If for or against or whatever. See, again, everybody's doing something. So you're taking the original baloney and then you're repackaging it and making it into new baloney, okay? So
Yes.
whatever's going on in creation is whatever. It has nothing to do, again, you can compare everything to the sun shining, and until you recognize what that represents, in other words, it's just funny stuff going on in creation. That's all it is.
I thought the electoral college was, when I was a little girl that in school, that's what the teacher said. The electoral college was supposed to make sure that someone so stupid as our president didn't get in.
Well, again, see, they use every angle to convince you that this is right, that's not, this is good, that's bad. See, you stay in that matrix and you just bounce off the walls until you're given the opportunity, but you must step up to recognize the is and free yourself from the matrix. Otherwise, you got all these ideas going on in creation, and it looks as though one's better than the other, but really they're all the same. Yeah, it don't matter. It's just like you and I are where we are, okay? And just like you're on the Skype here, you can be sitting in a prison cell, all right? You're still on the earth. It doesn't matter. There's no difference. Out of the cell, in the cell, you're still in the matrix. It's all a prison. Yeah, there's no difference.